Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Mike Roberts. I hope you had fun playing this afternoon. We're going to go over the four hands that were pre-selected as lesson hands, prepared. We fixed the hands a bit. And then I'm happy to go over any of the other hands that we haven't covered after the lesson's over. Before I start, I'll do this again at the end. I will add our file for this one. This is a copy of the lesson that we're about to give. And I'll do that again at the end. If you have any questions while the lecture's going on, I'd suggest putting something into chat. I'll see it, I'll look on it, and hopefully I can address it right away. All right, but let's start with, appropriately enough, hand number one. The topic for this today's lesson is responders' jobs. How responders should be thinking when they're making a response, what their task is, their responsibilities are, and what they're trying to do. So I wanted to sort of here on this hand, North opens one heart, and East with one of the worst hands I've ever seen passes. Um, South has 13 high card, and they have 3 card heart support. So they know there's an 8 card heart fit, and they know that they have enough points opposite an opening bid that they want to get to game. What you don't want to do is bid 4 hearts, even though that's likely the final contract. That describes a different hand as a responder to an opening bid. It describes a hand that's what we've called in the past, we've called it a weak freak hand. 5 trumps, about 3 to 7 high cards, hopefully some shortness somewhere. It's more of a preemptive bid uh, than a value showing bid. It's designed to make the bidding for the opposition as difficult as possible. That's fine, except when it prevents partner from evaluating correctly if you bid 4 hearts on those hands and on hands like these. So the 4 heart bid is reserved for the hands with 5 trumps and not much else. This, when you have a hand like this, where you know you probably belonged in 4 hearts, but you need to tell partner what to do. You need to come up with a bid on the way to 4 hearts first. So this hand you don't have 4 spades, so you bid 2 clubs. That's 10 in standard American. This is 10 plus points and some club values. It neither shows nor denies heart support. So we're just tells partners you've got clubs and a decent number of points. North's rebid is okay. Whatever you chose is probably okay. I suggested not bidding no trump because even though you have good stoppers in spades and diamonds, a singleton club still makes it an unbalanced hand. And there's no rush to show your points. So I suggested bidding 2 diamonds here. Partner promises another bid when they bid 2 clubs, and then you can go from there. But if you have a fit, you can find it fairly low. Um, if you bid 3 diamonds instead of 2 diamonds, that's okay. If you bid 2 or 3 no trump, that's okay. It doesn't really affect the main point of this lesson. But okay, pass. And whatever North chose, I think South should say 4 hearts. That says I've got enough to get to game. I've got 3 card heart support. Probably not 4. The people usually have some kind of conventional raise when they have 4 trumps and enough to get to game. If you haven't run across it, Jacoby 2 no trump. Um, but at least partner knows you have three hearts and you've got enough high card to get to game, not just trumps. So armed with that information, North can be fairly comfortable with they've got 18 high card, nice high card. Singleton Club isn't really an asset. You can't count points for it. But you've got control in all of the suits, and partners showed at least 13. 4 no trump seems okay. Partner shows 2 aces, and that's enough. What if you do Blackwood, you should decide when you bid 4 no trump what your action is going to be over any of partners' rebids. Usually, if you bid for no trump, you're planning on getting to slam unless you're off two aces or two key cards if you play key card. Um, if you decide when you bid for no trump, it solves the problem if you bid for no trump, partner shows one, and then you slowly sign off because you're not sure what to do. That puts partner in a bit of an ethical decision. But here, 4-0, five hearts, six hearts. Pass, pass, pass. So the advantage of this one is responders' job was not only to say that they had a fit, but that they had a fit and their bidding game on power, not on distribution. If it went one heart past four hearts, I think North should pass. I think if you bid four hearts over one heart, you don't have a hand with two aces. It's too strong to bid four hearts right over one heart. Here, you show your points with two clubs, then you say you've got a little bit extra when you bid four hearts, and you've got three card heart support. That's enough for North to be reasonably comfortable in bidding slam. Little bit of a gamble. If you played it in four hearts, that's fine too. Six hearts is a nice spot though. So against a heart contract, either four, five, or six, East should lead the 10 of spades. It's the unbid suit anyway, but if it was just a blind auction, you've got the sequence in spades as opposed to anything else. So 10 of spades, top of the, it might be from Queen 10-9 or King 10-9, but you definitely don't have the jack when you lead the 10. So on the 10 of spades lead, North has to play this hand. So first step we suggest is count losers when you're playing a suit contract. Nothing in spades. You've got to take care of dummies or North's fourth round diamond, and you're definitely going to lose a club. The club loser is unavoidable. So um, let's win in our hand. Try and win high as possible. So there's two ways that you might be able to get rid of the dummies, sorry, North's fourth diamond. You might be able to set up clubs for a pitch. Either the honor situation might be very advantageous, or if they're 4-3, you'd have to rough three of them. I think you can see that it's going to be a little more of a problem to do all of that. The better line to try and to get rid of North's fourth diamond is to rough it. So we have to delay drawing trumps before we do that. We can't. We're going to use one of dummies trumps to rough the diamond. So let's do that right away so that we've got communication within trumps. Sometimes the spade might be singleton. Um, so you play a diamond to the queen. You tend to play an honor from the short side first. Play a diamond to the ace. And one of the mistakes that you see quite a bit is North playing the king of diamonds and then roughing their fourth diamond. On this hand, it doesn't hurt, but you want to start out by rough your loser, and then later on, after you've drawn trumps, you can play the king. The diamond situation might be a little worse for doing that, but you rough the third round of diamonds, great, and that holds. So now we just have to hope that trumps come home, and they do. And make sure you draw the third round of trumps. Now you can just claim giving up a club. So the big point in the auction was that responders' job, when they've got a fit, is to let partner know if they can't do it as a direct response as soon as possible that there's a fit in opener's major suit. But they also need to somewhat describe how strong they are, 10 or 11 points, or enough to get to game, or if it's something stronger than that, like 18 points, and their partner's open the bidding, then responder might have to take over on the second round, and seize captaincy away from the opening bidder. But usually they're trying to describe their hand and let the opener make their choices. Big point is that you want to show your fit and show points. Then partner can make the decision about whether slam's a possibility or not. All right. So that was that one. And let's go on to the next one, which was board number two. So this is a similar one, but in this case, the fit is in responder suit rather than opener suit. So we started with the auction. Uh, East has 17 points. They have a small singleton, and they don't really have a rebid problem. So certainly one diamond is pretty normal. South shouldn't, three clubs would be weak, but this is too weak to overcall three clubs, especially at this vulnerability when you're vulnerable and they're not. You'd want to have a seventh club and you'd want to have a better hand. So I would suggest that South passes here. Um, West has 11 points. They're not sure what's going to happen yet, but the normal response is to respond in your major, so they do that. They only showing six or more points with that. They have to catch up later. But low level bidding is all about finding the fits. Once they found the fit, now we start expressing our values to one another. So after one spade, North has to pass, or should pass. Now this was 17 high card, and now you can add some points for the singleton club, 2 or 3 points for that. So now it gets up to 19 or 20 points in support of spades. That's enough to go to game. Um, if you're just playing a nice simple system, four spades says that. Four spades is not, again, it's not a weak bid. It's not like one spade past four spades. This is a strong bid. It shows a lot of points, and it has to be four cards sport in spades. Um, if you want to get into a little bit more advanced stuff, um, four clubs is I didn't mention this in the lessons, but four clubs for most expert players would be like it's a four spade bid, but I've also got a singleton or void in clubs. It's called a splinter bid. Um, what I would suggest not learning those until you're more comfortable with the rest of how responder and opener should act. I'm just mentioning it in passing. But either way, even over four spades, West has 11 points in high card. The king of spades and the king of diamonds now get promoted. The fifth spade is an extra um, couple of points, and the singleton club, you don't know its opposite partner singleton, but that's a valuable card as well. It's enough that opposite partners 20 points in support. This is enough to drive towards slam. And for the same reason, we want to make sure we're not off two aces. That can happen in certain cases. So if you've got all the side suits controlled, then you're allowed to say Blackwood. Um, we're just going to play regular Blackwood here. Five hearts shows two aces. That's fine. And now West says, great, okay, we're off. One key card, that's one ace. That's all we needed to go to slam. So six spades, pass, pass, pass. This is the auction that I'd recommend, either four spades or four clubs by East. But responder looks for the fit, and once they've found it and they add up the points, if opener raises responder suit, responder is the captain. They decide what to do. They might ask a question, but they decide what level to play at, and so forth and so forth. Um, in six spades, let's see how we do there. Uh, Not an easy opening lead. We don't like leading with an unsupported ace, but against a slam, it's not too bad a lead. Uh, Sometimes opponents are off the two caching tricks. A lot of times the ace goes away if you don't lead it. A lot of expert players strongly suggest whenever you've got an ace, just lead it, and we go from there. Against and the slam, lead the ace. So we'll lead the ace of clubs here. Um, I'm going to get actually the play if you don't lead a club is interesting. Lead the ace of clubs, and that wins the trick. And now North needs to get out with something safe, so they lead a spade. I think you could sort of see you've lost your one trick in slam. You're not going to lose anything in spades. You're not going to lose anything in hearts. Diamonds, you're home free if diamonds are 3-2. If they're 4-1 or 5-0, you can either you can play a couple of honors and you can finesse against one person, but you have to guess who has four diamonds or five diamonds. So while we're thinking about how to do that, let's draw some trumps. They split 2-2. Hearts might be 3-3. If hearts are 3-3, we can pitch a diamond on the fourth heart, and then we've got the ace, king, queen of diamonds. So let's test out the hearts before we work out diamonds. And you find out that south started with four hearts, and north started with two. So you now you've got to decide, well, if diamonds are 4-1, who's more likely to hold four diamonds? In this case, because North has shown up with exactly two spades and exactly two hearts, whereas South has shown up with two spades and four hearts, it's something which is called vacant spaces. Basically, North has more cards in the minor suits than South has. Therefore, North is more likely to hold four diamonds than South does. This kind of discovery slash counting is a very important part of declaring properly. If you just want to take a guess as to who has four diamonds, that's fine. You might have gotten it right and you might have gotten it wrong. I'll just show what's right and what's wrong. If you play the ace and queen of diamonds, now when South shows out, North is going to take a trick with the jack. If South had had four diamonds, you would be okay. You could finesse against South's jack fourth. But because South has more major suit cards and therefore fewer minor suit cards than North, North is more likely to hold the jack fourth of diamonds as they do here. So we play the ace, and now the better play is to play a diamond to the king. When South shows out, now you've got a proven finesse against the jack. So this sort of inferential counting, vacant spaces is another way that it's been described. It sort of helps turn a 50-50 guess into something that's a little more likely. And changing just a coin flip into something that's 60-70% likely to succeed. That's one of the hallmarks of successful declarer play. So there was an interesting one. If North didn't lead a club at all, sorry, getting all the way back. There we go. Okay. Uh, if North didn't lead the ace of clubs, so say North led a save trump, then king, and spade. So the same kind of thinking applies, but the one thing you can do is you can exit with a club, your loser, at a point where they're going to have to lead something advantageous for you. That's an end play. So you can end play them and force them to lead a diamond, which is going to take away the guess for you, or give you a rough slough. And you have to eliminate hearts before you do that. But after you've drawn trumps, if you go, all right, heart to the test heart still. Okay, they didn't split, but now you can eliminate their hearts. Now East and West are both out. Now you exit with a club. Whoever wins, they either give you a rough slough in either clubs or hearts, or they lead a diamond for you. That's sort of an end play that would come up if North didn't lead the ace of clubs. Um, Again, a tricky one for declarer. This is a good example of an end play. Eliminate the side suits, then exit with your exit card. force them to do something to your advantage. But if you can't end play them because they took their trick, try to work out who's more likely to hold the card that you're looking for and base that on the play in the other suits. All right. That was this one. Let's go on to hand number 7. So this was another one where we wanted to indicate what responder is generally in control until they choose to give up control. Put it that way. I think that's a good way of putting it. So opener sort of describes their hand as best as they can. If they make a very descriptive rebid, then responder decides. If they give like a general one, like they rebid, they open a diamonds and then they rebid a spade, which is pretty wide ranging, it's still up in the air. But on this hand, South opens a diamond, pass. North should respond one spade. They don't quite have enough to rebid to respond with 2 clubs. That's 10 or more points. So they don't have that. The singleton diamond is not an asset because partners opened a diamond. It might be later, but to start off with, we just count our high card points. The diamond is not an asset. So North should respond to spade. East has to say pass. South should be comfortable saying 2 diamonds. Shows 6 cards in diamonds. Very exceptionally, it's 5, but 6 cards is pretty normal. Um, and now, what does North know? North knows that they don't have a good fit in diamonds. They do stop both hearts and clubs, but 2-no trump. But they probably don't have enough to get to game. Partners limited their hand with 2 diamonds to about, at most, a bad 16 points. Probably, and it could be as bad as 12 or 13. So the general idea when responder knows that there's a misfit, in this case, the misfit is because North and South don't have a good fit in diamonds. They should try and get out at as low level as possible. And it's a good idea. Don't use no trump as an escape hatch. You try if you don't have the point. No trump should not only be used. Sorry, should be used not only when you don't have a good fit, but you've also got to have some extra values to make up for the fact that you don't have a fit. If you've got a minimum value hand, as a responder, 5 to 10 points is a minimum responsive values. Then you don't rebid no trump without some extra values. If you bid 2 no trump here, it describes the clubs and heart stopper, but it shows about a queen more than you have. And if you belong in 3 no, well, if you belong in 3 no trump, partner should have done something stronger than 2 diamonds the round before. The other mistake is you definitely don't want to bid 3 clubs. This is another thing you definitely don't want to do. That shows an even stronger hand. That should be forcing the game. So, so responders should say it's a misfit. Let's try and get out low. Even though we've got all the suits stopped, don't run to no trump unless you're looking towards game, especially to no trump. Don't run to there. So the suggest, whoops, right back we go. We suggest that North passes over 2 diamonds. It might be right that 3 no trump is there, but it's more likely that bidding on over 2 diamonds will convert a plus to a minus or a minus to a bigger minus rather than leading to a good game contract, which would undoubtedly be 3 no trump. So it's suggested that North passes 2 diamonds. It's a misfit. I've only got a 1 bid hand. Let's get out while the getting out is good. Uh, East, this isn't really a balancing auction because they haven't shown a diamond fit. So East should just pass out 2 diamonds. Um, if they bid and raise the suit, then you can start thinking about balancing, but they haven't shown a fit, so don't balance. Defense. Well, On opening lead, we don't like leading. It's not a slam, so we don't like leading something like the ace of clubs. So let's lead the unbid suit that we don't have the ace in. Jack of hearts is the pretty normal lead. You only need two connected honors against a suit to lead from a sequence. So here the jack shows the 10, denies the queen. It might be a singleton, but aside from that, so declare should, if they play the king, then they'll knock out the queen next, and then they'll be free to take the 10. But if they play low here, now they're a little constrained. If East is on lead after that, um, then they won't be able to lead through the King of Hearts again. Here on the Jack of Hearts, East knows that South has the Queen of Hearts, and they know that the South doesn't have four spades. It would be probably wrong to play an encouraging heart if Declare had the singleton Queen of Hearts. But the auction sort of suggests strongly that they don't. That they'd have six or seven diamonds, two or three spades. They probably don't have a singleton heart. And if they don't, you don't want to set up. If you play the ace, you're setting up their king and queen. If you play an encouraging heart, um, then if partner can get in, they can lead through again. You don't want to play, if you, assuming you're playing standard signals, you don't want to play the nine of hearts here. It's a card that you can't afford. I'll just show you. If you played the nine of hearts as your encouraging heart spot, now when partner gets in, the king eight surround the 10. They'll be able to force your ace on the next round. Um, So the nine of hearts, you want to play the highest card that you can afford to play when you're encouraging, but you can't afford the nine here. So you play the five. Now Declare has no reason not to just go barreling after trumps. Um, so get them off the get the kids off the street was the phrase. Um, One mistake that's very common is after they play the ace king, if somebody has two high trumps, they're going to get their two high trumps no matter what. But if they're like they are here, where they're split, if you don't play your third round of trumps, there's a good chance that they'll be able to ruff with the honors separately. So you play the ace king of trumps, but you, unless you're in danger of losing control of the hand, play another round of trumps so that they don't take their trumps separately. Here they win their queen. And partners encouraged hearts, so let's play the 10 of hearts. And we can take the 9 of hearts. Now this one's a bit tricky. Declare has the defense needs to lead a spade here or do something funny. If they lead the king of spades, now when Declare plays a club, they can just win the ace of clubs and play a spade to the queen. There's no danger that they're going to lose any of the tricks. So two diamonds should make two. If Declare went out, played three rounds of trumps right away. It'll make three if they rose with the ace of hearts. They let the Declare takes the king and the queen, or they didn't get around to spades in time and let them pitch. The big point in the auction was that responder should recognize there's a misfit. We don't have extra values. Um, get out in a suit rather than in no trump. Two no trump would play okay on this one because diamonds are 3-3. But if diamonds were 4-2, it would be a disaster. Um, it might so I one of the big theory ones is don't use no trump as an escape mechanism. Use it as a value showing mechanism. All right. We'll go on to our last one. Okay, this one we're gonna hit you with a convention. Oh no, we're not. Yeah, we are. Okay. Um, so West opens one diamond and North says pass. East has 13 points. They have enough to get to game, but responders is generally in charge of uh finding out any major suit fits that exist. They start out with one heart um, to show their four hearts. West bids a spade to show four spades and deny four card heart support. They might have three card heart support. So East doesn't have a club stopper. They can't bid no trump anyway. But they certainly would like to try and play hearts if partner has three of them. The new suit, the bid of the fourth suit, if it goes bid of a suit, bid of a suit, bid of a suit, the fourth suit by responder is an artificial ask. It's known as fourth suit forcing. Most people play it as forcing the game, an artificial. Um, sorry. Some people only play it as force showing invitational values are better, but it's simpler if you just play it forcing a game. That way, both people know they're getting the game. They can just bid naturally after the fourth suit bid. So here, after two clubs, West has a few choices. They don't have three hearts, so that's what a two heart bid would show. Um, Two spades would show usually five spades and six diamonds. Two diamonds would be okay, but they've got a stopper in no trump in clubs, so we'll have them bid two no, and that should do it. Three no trump. West could bid three no trump right over two clubs as well. That actually depends on system there. But East West should end up in three no trump. Although on this actual hand, four spades on a 4-3 fit turns out to be a winning spot. But three no trump is where standard simple bidding should let you get there. But you should do that. What East should investigate a 5-3 heart fit before resting into no trump. And they do that by bidding the fourth suit. That's an artificial alertable bid that just says, I'm not sure where we're going to play. Tell me more. Priority is, do you fit my first bid suit? So we're in 3 no trump. North, uh, clubs isn't a naturally bid suit here. But if even if it was, they bid all four suits. So you're going to lead your fourth best club, small. South should play their highest club. Partner could have ace jack fifth of clubs. So you never know. But certainly third hand high is still a good rule of thumb if you're not finessing against something in dummy. So the king of clubs holds. That implies that North has the ace. Not sure. West might have the ace of clubs and be holding up. In either case, there's nothing else to do. But you do want to return from an original three card holding where you've already played one of the cards. You want to return the higher of your two remaining cards. If you started with four or five clubs originally, then you return your original fourth best. If you return your high card, you started with either three or two. So you play the nine of clubs. Claire, for argument's sake, plays the queen. It's tempting for North to win the ace of clubs, but they should know a couple of things. They know that their partner doesn't have the jack of clubs because they would have returned, if they had king jack nine, they would return the jack. And they know their partner only has two or three clubs. So if they win the ace of clubs, now or North's club suit, there's no entry to it. You sort of hopefully have seen that kind of hold up play as the declarer, where you duck the first round of a suit where you hold the A's, first or second round of the suit, so that you maintain communication within that suit. It's more difficult to do it as a defender, because you only see dummy and your hand, and you have to work out what the other two hands are by the way they play the cards. But here, if you win the ace of clubs, declarer can just knock out the ace of diamonds and take a whole bunch of tricks. They'll make four if North win the second round of clubs. But if North said, okay, well, let's hope partner gets in, and then let's hope that partner has a third club. Neither of those are guaranteed, but if you're trying to defeat three no trump, it's your best shot. So they play the two of clubs. Declares what taken one trick. They can take four spade tricks and three heart tricks, but they're going to need at least one more trick to make three no trump. Um, so they need to try and sneak a diamond trick through. The trickiest way possible is to like pretend that you're taking a finesse that you're not actually taking. South shouldn't fall for this. South should work out that North has the ace of clubs the way that the clubs have been played. So they win the ace of diamonds to prevent declaring taking a trick in diamonds. Then they return a dime. They return their third club. North is happy to see that. They'll cash a couple of rounds of clubs and beat the contract one. So if you got to 3 no trump, that's where I would expect most players to play. On this hand, four spades on a 4-3 fit. Um, sorry, I'll show you the whole hand again. Uh, so on this hand, I don't think that we're sophisticated enough. I don't think people would look for a 4-3 fit. But on this hand, you're only going to lose two clubs in the ace of diamonds, and they're not going to be able to cash all their high clubs. You can hopefully set up your diamond tricks while keeping control in trumps. Just as a point of interest, because I expect you to be playing 3 no trump. The defense to beat 3 no trump is difficult. It would be fairly easy to play this club suit right if you could see all four hands, but North needs to make a difficult play of ducking the second round of clubs to maintain the communication with their partner because their partner has the entry. If North was looking at the ace of diamonds instead of two smalls so that they had the entry, then so we're pretending that North had the ace of diamonds. Then there's no harm in winning the ace of clubs and knocking out the jack because North could get in with their ace of diamonds and cash the clubs. They don't have an entry, so they need to duck the second round of clubs to preserve the entries between the two. So that was about it for the lesson hands. Um, it's sort of difficult describing what responder's job is, um, because there's things about one person being captain and the other person just answering questions, or both of them talking to one or the other, or one person just responding to what partners asked of them. Responder in general is the one looking for fits, and then whoever ends up saying, "Okay, our fit is here," they are giving up captaincy. They're telling their partner, "Okay, here's the fit. You're in charge now. Let you know what to do." That usually is responder. There's sometimes that it's the opening bidder. Okay, that was the four hands we had prepared. I'm just going to load in all of the other ones, um, just in case anybody would like to discuss. No. Oh, come on. Doing. All right. Never mind. It's not doing what I want. Does anybody have any questions about any of the other hands? I can go through them somehow. Yep, I gotcha. Number 10. Okay, I might have to create a new bidding table because it's not doing what I want. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm just gonna Sorry about this. Okay. Well, it's not bringing it up. Um, let's get out of bridge base. Do it this way. Okay. So I know this isn't the format we're used to, but we can go through it this way. Um, so on this hand, East deals. This is not a three club opener. You want to have 7 cards for a 3 level preempt, and it's the wrong texture and wrong vulnerability for it. So they say pass. I think South is 1 point shy of an opening bid. It would be okay if they open a heart, but let's start with it. Go pass, pass. East doesn't have a regular opening bid. In third seat, you're okay to open with 2 or 3 points fewer, especially if you're trying to suggest a lead to partner. So I would suggest pass, pass, 1 spade, pass. I think this is 8 high card, and you can add 2 or 3 for the singleton heart. So I think this is enough to make a limit raise in spades. So pass, pass, 1 spade, pass. North can't pass 3 spades, shuts them all out. And East West would play 3 spades. If South opened a heart, now it goes 1 heart, 1 spade. North has 11 high card. You can't count points for the king of clubs as 3 points because it's a king, and count for it for being short. You have to do one or the other. So it's not enough to get. It's 11 high card, one way or the other. But you can't say it's 11 points and a singleton because the singleton's an honor. If the king of clubs was the king of spades, I think it's enough to get to game. But as it is, you're going to bid 2 spades to say I've got a limit raise in hearts. But East should double. South, for argument's sake, passes. At some point, either North or South is going to bid 3 hearts. And it's sort of close. East is close to bidding 3 spades because they have a singleton in the opponent's suit. If East West competed to 3 spades, that's more than reasonable. I don't think North South should bid to 4 hearts, although it works out well. It feels like 3 hearts or 3 spades is the normal contract. They don't really have the points to bid higher, but bidding higher works out well on this hand. Hearts is going to make 10 tricks as long as South can rough a couple of clubs in dummy, and that shouldn't be too tough. So it's one of those where it's just the nature of the points leads to 4 hearts being a good contract. They've got to fit in hearts and diamonds, where the opponents have a fit in spades and clubs. Um, the law of total tricks tends to get a little shifted when it becomes a double fit with both hands. You need fewer combined trumps if you've also got a fit in a second suit. I think the auction should probably end up with 3 spades in by East West. But if North South managed to bid 4 hearts, that's fine. It's a tough one. These are tough competitive hands. This is the ones that a lot of bridge it's known as just grinding it out in the trenches where it's you've got a fit, they've got a fit. It's probably a part score hand. How high do we go? Um, don't really know what else I could say on that one. Sorry.
Could I ask a question?
Of course.
Is there any way of making a negative double in the south hand after all the bidding has gone as you suggested before?
Well, if they've opened a heart and North has somehow shown a fit in hearts, then no. Once you've shown a fit in one suit, negative doubles are out of the picture.
Yeah, I was thinking of the case where South passed.
Yeah, so let's
Uh,
you can if it goes like pass a spade pass two spades. Now I think South would be okay to make a takeout double here. Um, they've got
okay,
support for the
that's what
other
I
two.
meant, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Negative doubles are when your partners open the bidding.
Okay.
But same principle. You've got support for the other suits. So yes, there are auctions that South can be comfortable making a takeout double. I don't think it's strong enough to make a takeout double to force partner to bid at the four level. So if it went pass a spade, pass three spades,
Hmm.
I don't think I'd make I don't think I'd make a takeout double there. But if he's just bid two spades, then I think it's worth making a takeout double there.
Okay, thank you. I was thinking of doing that, but I didn't.
Yeah, it certainly is reasonable. You've got the big advantage is you're a passed hand. So your partner isn't going to play you. You may be a little bit light for a takeout double of two spades, but you've already
Hmm.
passed, so your partner can't take you up to the moon,
Right.
thinking you've got 16 points. He knows that you don't have them. So there's that.
Okay, thanks.
My pleasure. All right, folks. Let me put the lesson hands back into chat. I think we're okay. So those were the lesson hands that I went on about. Thank you for attending this lesson. I'll see if I can work out why it wasn't doing what I wanted to do, but we got through the bidding on number 10. Thank you for your patience with that. This will be online if you want to take a look at these. We've got the past recordings are on there as well. Next Tuesday, we're going to focus more. We'll try to do a little bit with the auction, but it's going to be mostly about the opening leads against suit contracts. What's good idea? What are good ideas? What are not good ideas? We'll go from there. We look forward to seeing you then. Have a good afternoon and take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kathy, I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay, sounds good. I'll see you on Tuesday.